rolling time.
Party people, let's get our music going.
Hello.
What's up? Alex and Alex in the house.
Hi, everyone.
Look at my cool glasses girl Alex got me to prevent eye fatigue and strain.
Yeah.
And look at this really cool pimple patch that she gave me so that you can't tell that I have a zit, even though I totally do. I see we already got some party people in the house. What up?
Early birds, I love it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Linda's here. Yep, early birds.
love it.
Jody says,
Jody.
hi, everyone. Deidre says, hey, Journal Party family, what's up, what's up? I'm guessing that's like an emoji. Hand pink waving. All right. Andy Wilson, what's up, what's up? Nancy's in
Hi,
the house.
Nancy.
And Melissa.
Hey, Melissa.
How's everybody doing this evening? Hopefully y'all haven't been looking at your phones too much. I'm working on segues and introducing the topics. That didn't feel natural though, did it? I mean, I'll tell you what. I think that it's almost natural how we have this tendency to pick up our devices, except for it's like totally not natural. And these things that are commandeering our mind space, our head space on the daily, I think are totally messing up our collective flow here. So I'm really excited about tonight's program because if you're like me, thank you for digging the new glasses. If you're like me, you ever finish scrolling through something on your phone, you put the phone down, and then you immediately pick it back up again, and you recognize that you did that, and that you don't have any business being back in that phone. It's just total compulsion. Well, I noticed that more than I'd like, and I've been trying to work on it lately. You know, I've got the screen time thing going, and it tells me I'm not allowed to get on Instagram after like an hour every day, and you know, it's helped a little bit. I have seen that my screen time has gone down, and just that little bit of fresh air and headspace, I feel like it's left me feeling with like a cleaner burn of energy this week, and so I'm really excited to dig in a little bit deeper and try to figure out, you know, what are the mechanisms at play behind some of these compulsive behaviors that we have to just just completely sign over our lives to our devices. And I there's got to be some cool cognitive stuff that's going on behind the scenes. You know, like what are our thought processes, emotions? Like what are we doing this for? And I think that, like with most things, just shining a little bit of conscious awareness on it can help us make some better decisions and hopefully reorient ourselves in our lives so that we are living the kind of lives that we want to live and feeling the way that we want to feel as we live these lives. So yeah, pretty excited for this one. We've done similar stuff in the past, but it's been quite some time since we've done a little digital detox program. So that's what we've got going on this evening. Anybody new in the house? Let me look at the chat here. Okay, Mandy's totally guilty of that. I feel like I'm missing out on something if I don't look at my phone constantly.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, right? Like, I've had that thought too. Like, what is it? What is like the news that I'm waiting for? Well, I kind of know what the news is.
To be fair, there's a lot going on in the world, and there's new information constantly throughout the day. So it's hard. It's a challenge no matter what.
Absolutely. Linda says, totally addicted. I hate it. I try very hard to do something else, read or write. Teresa says me. Yeah, I mean, and look, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. There are people who have made entire careers at manipulating how our minds work to sell us stuff, whether that's ideas, products, you name it. What are you supposed to do? Like, how are we supposed to know that technology was going to just go completely nuts and create all these crazy things that we've never encountered before in human history. But again, yeah, it's not your fault. There are literally people who are hired on these platforms.
Alex, your audio is cutting in and out.
Does it sound better now?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Can I? What would I do without my wife? She's like, hey, you're talking, you don't have a microphone. I can't believe you heard me at all. Do I just talk that loud?
Yeah. You do.
Well, hopefully it wasn't the messaging wasn't lost there. But what I was going off of is just that it is by design that you are as addicted to your devices as you are. And that said, I think personal sovereignty is one of my core values here, and I think that really only comes with that conscious awareness. So at any given moment, you can look up, smell the roses, see what's going on in your life, and decide how you want to interact with it. And so I think that's kind of what the intention is for today. We're going to be going through 10 prompts. Actually, let me get our program set up here. The Digital Detox program inside of the Journal Party app. If any of you folks are new, you can scan that QR code and get the app. You can also visit app.journalparty.com and visit get a web-based version of that as well if you don't want to do it on mobile. But for this evening, you don't need the app because I will be streaming it for us. And Alex and I will take turns reading the prompts, and then we will journal along with you. And then at the very end, we'll all hang out and share insights. And actually, speaking of my wife coming up with really great ideas, she suggested that perhaps the interactive portion of this would be a little more engaging if we prepared some fun questions, not to journal about, but just to chat about at the end. So we've got a couple engaging questions for you all, and hopefully we'll have a nice discussion. And I mean, if any of you regulars, you probably know how awesome this is to do every Wednesday night and kind of change your headspace into something that'll get you through the rest of the week. And in this case, I think it'll really pay off if we can, just reclaim some of this headspace and some of the mindful awareness without just getting completely hijacked by our news feeds. So that's the goal. We'll see if we can pull it off. And you know what? I think another one of our values here is just be nice to yourself. This isn't something, I think you can undo in an evening. It takes a while to change neural pathways and brain chemistry and patterns and things like that. And so we'll set intentions, and one of those intentions should be to treat yourself the way you ought to be treated. So be nice to yourself. Don't beat yourself up about these. But if you come up with something and it's jarring to you, well, make a note of it. And from then on, from there you can decide what you want to do with it. All right, enough yapping. I think it's time to get this party started. Everyone got their journal ready? Let us know in the chat. Let's get this party started. Alex, you doing the odds or the evens this evening?
I will do the evens today. So you start us off.
I gave you guff last time, thinking that you messed up on the ones you were reading, and it was me. I watched it back. I'm the jerk.
I know.
As per you didn't even call me out on the stream. If it was me, I would have called you out.
I'm sure you would, but I was trying to be polite. So
awesome. All right. Well, let's see. A couple quick things before we get going. We have Nahal's here. Awesome. Nice. It's always good to see our regulars. We had a funny share here. Sarah said, anyone else set limits on apps and then just ignore them? Only when I have something really important to see. No, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, I did set the limits on the app, and I have broken them a few times. So I'm no better. Let's see. Terry says, thank you for continuing to do this. I finished my last journal, and it will be starting a new one. Awesome. Ooh, all right, everyone's ready. Gabby got new pens here.
Alex, get used to saying you were right and I'm the jerk now that
Thank
you're
you,
married.
Sarah. You know what's
My
up.
husband says it 2 or 3 times a day, right? And you seem happy. So maybe that's the secret.
It is.
All right. Limits. I do not know that word.
No, I'm not familiar myself.
Awesome. All right. Let's get going. Everyone, get your journal out. We will. We'll get started. You said evens, Alex?
Yes. So you start us off.
All righty, I can do that. Can't believe I didn't have my mic over here. Screen time reality. What feelings come up when you think about your current relationship with your phone or social media? Write without judgment.
Digital triggers. Notice what emotions or situations make you reach for your device. What are you really seeking in those moments?
Offline joy. Describe an activity that brings you genuine happiness without any screens involved. What makes it so satisfying?
Comparison trap. Write about a time when scrolling social media made you feel worse about yourself. What would you tell a friend in that situation?
Tech boundaries. What would an ideal relationship with technology look like for you? Dream freely about how it would feel.
Morning ritual. Imagine starting your day without immediately checking your phone. What would you do with those first 30 minutes instead?
You guys should have seen the argument I just had with myself on the page. Evening peace. How does your current bedtime screen routine affect your sleep and mood? What small change could you try tonight?
Real connection. Think about your most meaningful relationships. How has technology helped or hindered these connections lately?
Attention span. When did you last feel completely focused on one task without digital distractions? What was that experience like?
Digital values. What values do you want to guide your technology use? How can you honor these values starting today?
All right. Let us know in the comments how you did. How'd you do, Alex?
I did pretty good. I'm well aware of my social media addiction and my phone addiction, and so there's definitely a lot of shame surrounding that. And I tried not to judge myself, but it's something I know that is, it is affecting my mental health, and it is something in my sleep schedule, as you know. So it's something that I really need to start being more conscious of, and walking away from it and making my priority and mental health a priority again. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, did you notice any cool patterns like when you go for it?
I wouldn't say cool patterns. I
Well,
would just, it's mostly out of boredom. And it's also definitely when I'm trying to avoid my personal responsibilities. And, I know if there's something that I have on the table that's overwhelming me in any way, I tend to try to block all that out with mindless scrolling. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I had like escape and I mean that first, well actually I think it was the second prompt, like all the triggers, right? It's like, oh, there's so many different ways that I come to it. And I was trying to like see if there was like a unifying thread. Like I had significance, looking for novelty, seeking connection, entertainment, enrichment. Sometimes it's because of boredom, sometimes it's because of escape. Um, and a lot of times it's when I just don't want to sit with my thoughts and feelings, which I usually consider myself pretty good at. Like, I love to sit in silence and just like think. But I mean, there are times where I like even that's overwhelming for me. And yeah, that's when I dig in, which is kind of a crazy thing to do, because it's like, yeah, let's let the crazies drive the train instead of me, because I'm a little overwhelmed right now, which is kind of nutty. And the other one that really stuck out for me, I had highlighted something here, which was the real connection prompt. And I was just thinking about like my social life and, the not only my friends, but, even some family, and like what technology, like how it helps and how it harms those relationships. And, I realized like how comfortable most of my friends have gotten with like having a more digital connection with everybody, and how we don't see each other as often. And it's rare. Like, I mean, I have one friend who calls me every day, so he's kind of old school, but but I see him, right? Like he's the one friend I probably see all the time. Whereas like other
Mhm.
friends, it's like, man, has it really been 6 months since we hung out and we're like supposedly besties or whatever? And so, that's kind of crazy. And I wrote down this one insight that I had, which was like, I know what my friends are doing, but I don't necessarily know how they're doing.
100%. I had the exact same realization that you see what they're doing that day, you see what they're doing with their kids, you think you know what's going on, but we have no idea what's actually going on inside for them. So that's
Right. And
something that
then
I
there's that
really
other prompt with the comparison, right? Where you're feeling bad about it, right? And like, who knows, like however you judge the life on their surface, like by looking at their highlight reel, essentially, like who knows, right? I mean, you hear and you can confirm that because you read about it in the news all the time, right? Half the time I'm doom scrolling, you see it's like, oh, so and so who we thought had a perfect life just ended his family. It's like, well, oh, that's wow. I guess I don't know what's going on under the surface, and it's kind of crazy too, because like I feel like we all like rush to bring our shadow selves to these feeds, and like you see it in the comments. It's like we can't have like normal discourse anymore. Like everybody needs, the one I've been saying this a lot lately because I just notice it a lot. It's like, how many people are like telling other people to like cry harder, and like, oh, like it's like, where did the empathy go? And I guess it's just so easy because it's not actual connection. It's just everybody kind of like I don't know, co-creating in the worst of ways. So yeah, I'm gonna try to focus a little more on not dwelling in that space if I can, because like it doesn't feel good. And on the flip side, there's so much potential that all of this technology has, right? Like if you're on the digital values one, like my biggest one was enrichment, because I think that, I can, if I'm honest with myself, I can look at how I'm engaging with any piece of media or, any app or device or whatever, and ask myself, like, is this making my life better right now? And if you're swimming in the muck, or if this is like, because you've seen how I operate here in the office. Like the sometimes tech's awesome, right? Like I can get so much done nowadays with all the cool technology, but then you accidentally take a dip in the algorithm. It's like, ugh, gotta take a shower after this. But anyway, I'm excited to see what you all have to say. So I see some comments already coming through, and we'll pick some of those out, but we have some questions here for you. Let us know in the chat, what's one small digital boundary you're feeling inspired to try this week? Let us know. Alex, what would yours be?
I want to not bring my phone to bed with me. Getting in bed and scrolling is my go-to. I do enjoy reading, and I'm okay with using my phone to read because I always use my book app. But I need to stop with the Reddit and the Instagram and all of that stuff, because that just,
I have the opposite problem. I don't really have much of a scrolling habit before bed, but when I get up in the morning, I think it's because like I get up ready to work, and I think I'm looking for problems to solve, and that's kind of a crazy thing. Like the first thought of my day is like, let's see what's a problem. And I don't even have to look very far, and usually they're not my problems, because you get dinged with whatever the news is, especially here on the West Coast, where stuff is happening already when you wake up, and it's so easy to get on that ride, and then I'll forego some of my healthier habits, like when I check the phone, I'm not as good as meditating, and how much better would I feel the rest of the day if I meditated instead of doom scrolled for the first 20-30 minutes I was awake. So yeah, I'll try to not do it so much in the mornings, and you at night, and then we'll compare notes.
Perfect. We got a lot of great feedback in the chat.
Yeah, let's see what we got in here. All right, Sarah says, values, I want to guide my technology use, using it for good and not evil. Good, learning good things, creating, finding inspiration, recording experiences and memories, journal party. Yeah, thanks for that. Obviously, she wrote. That didn't make the cut on what gets clipped on the screen, but she wrote obviously. So let's see. Beverly says, I use technology for work, virtual assistant, and when preparing for speaking events and workshops, I sometimes get distracted on social media when I am looking up something and find myself scrolling too long. Yep, I do that too. You know what? I was telling someone this. I think it was probably in one of our Monday Zoom sessions or whatever. But like, that's when we do our morning pages. And morning pages, you're supposed to just write 3 pages, stream of consciousness, and no editing, no outside influence. And I've caught myself like these past couple weeks, like, you know what? Like, do I know the answer to that? Let me just look real quick, and then I'll get back to it. And then like before you know it, I'm like, gotta go. Yeah. It's turning a 15-minute practice into a 30-minute practice. Deidre says, it is a mindset to use devices as a tool versus priority. I'm scrolling more right now as I nurse an injury and cannot get outside to walk. So in that case, it's like, it's such a nice thing to have, right? Like, it's a way to kill time, or like, I mean, gosh, I was experiencing that. You guys probably don't know this, but for a while I was actually working on a low dopamine device that was supposed to make technology kind of fade off into the background, and so you didn't use your phone so much. And I found one of the hardest places to be was like in a waiting room, like where it's so easy to just like pick up your phone and kill that 5-10 minutes or whatever, and like sitting there just like raw dogging it, like, hey, like, all right, people think you're weird and stuff, or that's total head garbage. Nobody's caring what I'm doing. They're down on their phones, right? But yeah, I think that is a mindset. It's good to use tools, because then you're the agent, right? You're the one who's in control. And that was one of the things that I was coming up with in here, is like, all right, well, like because I do the same thing. There's a lot of utility you can get out of technology, but at a certain point, if it starts taking the wheel, like, ooh, gotta notice that and back off. But sorry to hear about your injury, Deidre. I hope you heal, and yeah, I mean, little scrolling here and there. Maybe just puppies and cats and stuff, and not like the cars on fire and all the other craziness. I don't know. No, don't let me tell you what to do. But I think we all deep down know what's good for us, and really just having some awareness is the point of it, right? Sarah said, making connections, being productive, evil, ending up on my husband's best friend from high school's girlfriend's stepbrother's cousin's profile, judging their hairstyle in their profile picture. Alex is nodding. And
yes.
What's that? You once told me, you're like, I will know everything about everyone like 8 degrees from you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember before we started dating, I was on your mother's profile. I was doing all sorts of things, and never underestimate. And now I know guys do it occasionally, but never underestimate a woman on social media. We will go down these rabbit holes, and yeah, you end up on people's pages and looking at people's lives who you have no connection to. It's insane.
See, I don't trust myself to do that, because I know that like my shaky hands, I'd like double tap and like deep like someone's thing, and it'd be so embarrassing. I just don't even know.
Oh, for sure. Oh no, but the rabbit holes are endless. That's for sure. So I feel you on that, Sarah.
For sure. Melissa says, I find myself using my phone both out of a fear of missing out. Yep, I know that one. And trying to escape at the same time, which are so opposite from one another that neither one can be satisfied by scrolling. No. And, they've got it down to like just these bite-sized little snackable things where like even you'll have that insight, but it's like, yeah, but what one more won't harm. And then, 30 minutes later and I know it. Mandy said, boundary, bedtime routine, less phone then. Yep, we're with you on that. Yeah, no thanks. Said, I'm thinking of deleting social media apps from my phone, at least for a week, to see how it goes. Yeah,
that's great.
I've had mixed results with that. It's kind of nice to like take a hiatus. Like, I don't love like not being like the fear of missing out is like way too crazy for me. Although I realized I was a huge Redditor, and I was doing that a lot, and I felt like just the color of the discourse on there kind of had changed to where like I was feeling out of sorts on that app, and I actually did delete that one a couple of weeks ago and haven't been using it. And so that's kind of an interesting thing that's not there, but I think I probably just replaced it with other, what I did? I replaced it with a video game. That's what I do now. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's hard. But I do think like a little hiatus is good. Like if you make it a little harder to access it, that's just like one of those like life hack things, right? You make the things that you're trying to do like a little easier to access. Put the healthier food where you can see it right in front of where you normally grab snacks and stuff like that, right? Same idea for this sort of thing, but in reverse, I guess. If you make it a little harder, it's less. I mean, you'd have to go through the process of downloading the app to get sucked in. So I get that. Let us know how it goes. Gabby says, not having my iPad near me, I keep everything away from a distance. Okay. Yeah, proximity, That's good. Have you seen like those lock boxes that they have?
I need those for sure. That's what I was
Yeah,
going to say. There are lock boxes. I need to be able to not have access to it.
cut to us with a hammer.
Yeah.
Sarah says, boundary, remove 2 time-wasting apps from my phone. One will definitely be Facebook. Interesting. Melissa says, I'm going to try reading a physical book for that first 15 to 20 minutes in bed instead of reaching for my phone. Real quick before I keep reading all the comments, let's show one of the other questions that we had on here. What's one offline activity you mentioned that you want to do more of? That would be a good one to know about.
But yeah, Melissa, that's a great idea. I think I need to, you know what? I need a really good reading light that won't keep Alex awake, because I have gotten into like physical books recently, but the light situation keeps Alex up, and I understand how irritating that can be. So I love that on my phone I can just go to the lowest light setting. But if I could
you
get
should
more,
try switching to like the Kindle or something.
I know.
It's not good for your eyes either. Like you're the one who got me the glasses. You know about this.
Yes, no, I know for sure.
Deidre says, I can turn on music and put the phone down to engage in other things, writing, reading, meditating. Yeah, I like
Great idea. I put all that down as well. Those are some other activities I can engage in instead of mindless scrolling.
I need to start playing music again. It's been coming up a lot lately where like the times I was most happiest, I was just jamming out. And it's like, why don't I do that? I don't know. All right. D says, not to pick up my phone when I first get out of bed. Yep. Same.
It is so hard not to.
Mary Kay says, morning pages is a great way to disconnect from technology and start your morning routine. Yeah, it totally is. As long as you abide by it. Like I said, I've been cheating on my morning pages a little bit. But you know what though? I don't do it in the accountability group because you guys are watching. So +1 for the accountability group. Mary's in it. Is this some kind of like this is like an AOL emoji? Remember the old school sideways ones? Deidre says morning pages are great. Yeah. Sarah, anyone ever heard of and or try Brick? Yes, I have. I see ads for that all the time and I always want to get it. It's a device you scan with your phone to block apps, and you just leave it somewhere like the fridge or give it to your significant other, and they have to rescan to unlock them. Ooh, Alex is like, not ready for that.
I'm not ready for it, but every once in a while, if I can't stop snacking on something, I'll go and I'll put it in Alex's his kind of hangout room and try to stay away from it because
Which I don't love because I know I'm just gonna catch you like going. Like...
No, not necessarily. I'm more afraid of you taking the snacks. That's the issue.
I mean,
yeah,
we all know that the kinds of snacks that you get to eat are not enjoyable to me. Alex is a gluten-free vegan. And God bless her for it. You know, I wish that I had the discipline to not eat animals and stuff like that. But the gluten-free on top of it makes it extra hard. So look, I found these Cheez-Its that aren't Cheez-Its.
Hey, they're good though. They're good.
Don't worry, I'm not eating those.
Okay.
Gabby says, bingo on Tuesday.
Oh,
they tell us to silence our phones. That's cool. I want to do so many things. I want to do all the things. I have had it in my head here because we live in like Hipsterville over here in Los Angeles. And I have this idea for like hipster boozy bingo night. I think it would be so fun if we like kind of like ironically did bingo, but like, you know, I mean, not that bingo isn't great. Bingo's pretty good.
I love bingo. Bingo's so much fun.
Well, you know,
yeah, it's wonderful.
Add the mustaches and the craft beer. It could be a hit. If Journal Party doesn't work out, we'll do hipster bingo. Melissa says, no, that's my cat on the keyboard.
Oh, that's terrible.
I thought it was an old school emoji. Gabby says game night, but we silence our phones. Yeah, I was saying Alex, I want to do a game night again. We got into games during the lockdown, and we haven't been on our game streak lately. We have this really fun one where what was that account that we were following? There was like this couple, and they get a new like weird board game or other kind of boxed game, and they show it off every week. There was some really fun ones in there. We picked up one with little trucks that you control with your hands. See, that stuff's fun. I'm not comparing myself to other people. When that's going on, bring back family game night. Sarah says, I'm not ready for it either, but it sounds amazing. Yeah. And our last question that we had here was, anyone willing to share about the comparison trap prompt? That one tends to bring up a lot. And that was just like, when you ever notice when you're not feeling so great because you're scrolling, it's probably due to comparison. I mean, yeah, I'm not shy to share about that. Although, like, I don't have like a specific, there wasn't a specific instance that I remembered. It's just something that happens frequently. And it's like, oh, you're looking at your friend who, like, I don't know, he went to law school or he's a doctor, and like, oh, they're so happy. And like we were saying, like, you don't know. And it's like, have I made all the right choices? I guess it just makes you second guess yourself. But I was thinking, like, what I would tell a friend going through that is like, all right, well, what's really going on here? Because you're not that person and that you don't want their life. Like, I think most people can get in touch with that. But why are you having these feelings? And I think it usually boils down to like wanting approval, control, or security. Those are my three things that I always go back to, because that's usually what's underneath the surface of anything that I'm having a problem with. And yeah, I mean, it could be any one of those. Like, oh, like, do people think that I did a good enough job in my life? Like, are they judging me about that? Do they think I'm like someone who's worth listening to and getting respect? Or maybe like, oh, I wish I could afford a vacation like that. I wish I had that kind of control. So I mean, yeah, usually for me it's approval and control. Those are the big ones where I start to compare to other people, and I just assume that they've got it all figured out. Let's see if anyone said anything here. Gabby said, going swimming or the jacuzzi, but don't bring your phone. Yeah, well, it's hard to do the phone in the hot tub. Although I took a bath and I had the phone, but I was doing research.
Yeah, I'm sure. Really important research.
See how quick we are to make excuses for our own limitations? It's tough. Sarah said, the worst part is garbage scrolling, seeing people doing outdoor things or accomplishing something that I want to do. And instead of doing it, I'm sitting here scrolling, reading about it. Oh, that's like an interesting flavor of that one. Yeah, I feel that. You were going to say something, Alex?
Oh, no, I was just going to agree with her. I think seeing people doing the things that you want to do, and, it definitely, I mean, I fall into the comparison trap every single day for sure. And, I'm so proud of, the people in my life and everything they're doing. But it is hard, when they are accomplishing those things that you've been wanting to accomplish, and they, it's so difficult. And I've gotten a lot better about it over the years, especially with therapy. But I completely understand that. But remember, it is a highlight reel. It is only the biggest and best of everyone's lives. The day-to-day struggle and everything they're dealing with is not published on social media. So I also like to take that into consideration, that it's just a highlight reel, and everyone is human and everyone is still got their own struggles. So
I was thinking about that. I don't know how I feel about the whole highlight reel thing. Like on one hand, I have been trying to show up less than perfect online, because I think that like being real is really where it's at, especially nowadays where like you can see a video of what looks like real people and they're like not real. So like here I am, like zit on my forehead and silly glasses and stuff like that. Like I'm trying to like, not have that prevent like how I want to be perceived, like prevent me from showing up for people and like delivering value. And so like I'm trying not to put the highlight reel up on one hand, but on the other hand, like have you ever seen it go the complete other way? Like I've gosh, I mean, I've got like some people that like I went to like high school with and stuff like that, where they like, some people are so open and so vulnerable, like when they're like getting on there like crying or being like, oh yeah, I'm like depressed and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like I grew up, growing up with like this social media, and so I was always like hyper aware of like what you put out there. And so I guess on one hand, like I kind of feel like a highlight reel is appropriate. It's like a professional thing to do, right? Like you want to show your best work and put your best self out there. And then I guess look, I guess we're all free to do whatever we want on there. But I have seen it go like the total other way, where I'm like, was that healthy? Like you should get help. So yeah, I don't know.
It's usually, I think, people crying for help and looking for validation and stuff. And I would always recommend a therapist if there's really hard stuff going on, as opposed to putting it on social media. Because
yeah, I mean, it's on one hand, it's helpful to like see that other people like have struggles, and like maybe that can like empower someone or like convince someone to get the help they need. But I do often see it sometimes where it's like, oh, you should have just got help for this, right? So yeah,
it's unfortunate for sure.
Let's see. Mandy says, I have an issue with wanting what someone else has, and then I just can't afford it, so it makes me feel bad. Yeah, no, same thing. I was brought up the vacations thing. Like sometimes I see some people going on these crazy trips. I'm like, how did you do that? I know what you do for a living. Like something doesn't add up. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. I don't think I'm ever getting to the bottom of it. And I think that's okay. I think that's the problem. That's my pattern. I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. Like, nope. It's like, leave it. Make some journal prompts. Kathy, good to see you again. Kathy, a quote from NCIS on social media. Everyone only posts their A sides of their life, not their B sides. Yep. Teresa says, I'm too old to care about comparison, but I get bummed out by the news. I feel so helpless. Yes. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because we've been talking a lot about like lifestyle-y kinds of things. And the other real just tough side of social media is how it's just, how it's not only gamed by corporations, but gamed by, political actors. And I like never want to make Journal Party a political thing, so not gonna go there. But if you think that these platforms aren't being leveraged to make you feel a certain thing, so that you demand a certain thing from the people that you have representing you, for example, or to make you think a certain way about somebody who somebody wants you to be opposed to, right? Like these are things that are being engineered against you, and the deck is kind of stacked against you. And so on one hand, it is always good to stay informed. I was thinking about that, like well, sometimes I want to know what's happening, like in case I need to, like Alex and I live in Los Angeles, like it's been a little nutty here, but and so like sometimes I'm like, well, I need to know in case we need to get out of here, in case we need to be safe or whatever. But like I think that the trap is that it becomes it just becomes something where it's like this endless pit, and you start to fill in the gaps, the unknowns, with like what ifs. And I mean, look, on one hand, I get so excited about how humans have like infinite potential, and because I'm typically thinking about it positively. I'm thinking about like all the possibilities that we have as human beings, the things we can create together, and what it could mean for society if we really showed up as our best selves. But unfortunately, a lot of us are kind of like unconscious in these places that we're dwelling, these feeds that we're scrolling. And that's where like our worst patterns show up, the worst versions of ourselves. And like maybe you were going for the truth so you could make use of it, but it just gets so distorted by everyone's, everyone's like adding their own button to everything. And, not to say that everyone shouldn't have a voice. I think that that's so important that we can, speak our own truths and, sound off when we feel a certain way, hey, that's not right. Or like, hey, I think this is right. Or like great. That is awesome. But, the other side of that is that, there's a lot of unknowns. And when you're hearing all of that, it just becomes noise and chaos. And I think that I think probably the best thing to do, at least this is what I resolved to do, because I do the same thing. Like I just get addicted to like, oh, like what did they say? What are they doing about this? I hope this doesn't happen, and you're digging. But it's like, all right, what I wrote was like, if I become aware that I'm not feeling good about it, like I'm going to use my intuition to try to stay in control, not hand over the keys or the wheel to these automated systems that are designed to rev you up. I think like, all right, if I can be aware in that moment, I can make a different choice and reach for the better feeling. I think that was a good piece of advice that someone gave me once, which is like, look, you can't always just like wave a magic wand and feel the way you want to feel or do what you want to do. But what you can do is you can reach for the better feeling, and often a bit of momentum will steer you in the right direction. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying, Teresa. I often feel helpless like that. But that if you realize that, hey, I'm feeling helpless. Well, first off, that's a very difficult emotion. And, if you have access to supportive folks, whether they are, supportive friends and family, or, even better, a professional who can help you work through some difficult feelings like that. I think it's good to help you process those things. But if you notice like, oh, I feel helpless, like, well, what are some things that make you feel empowered? Right. That would be a good time to put down the phone. Look, the chaos is always going to be there. It's always going to be there for you. So, make sure you're safe. Obviously, there's no immediate danger, but put it down and, do something that you can control. Make a sound, even if it's just like making a yell, right? That's something you can control. There's so much, you are never helpless. You are never powerless. And, I think that sometimes you just need to prove that to yourself. So that would be my suggestion.
I'm in the same boat as you, though, Teresa. I definitely am very affected by the news. And, I follow a lot of news organizations on social media. And I think I need to, I'll follow maybe just a few as opposed to the several that I do follow. Just because constantly seeing, the horrible breaking news post after post, like that definitely feeds into it. So maybe just reduce the number of outlets you follow. I think that's something that I'm personally going to do, especially now with what's going on in the world. There's just something all day, every day. It's all so devastating. So just validating your experience, because I feel the exact same way.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this is definitely information overload. Like the 24-hour news cycle was not a thing very long ago. And so it's kind of the way that people just have, they can, have a direct line of communication. Everybody's got a red phone in their pocket. Like that's crazy that you can just immediately, get to someone and expect a reaction from them. And it's, it's the same thing with our access to, the feed of everything that's happening. And it's not natural. I mean, it can be helpful, but yeah, I think unfortunately the deck is a little bit stacked against us. And yeah, you're right, Sarah. It's either terrifying or heartbreaking. There's not a whole lot of happy good news, but there is happy good news. And I actually, before I deleted Reddit, I know that there was a subreddit in there that I thought was cool, and it was just good news. Like follow that. Like, not to say that like you need to, like plug your ears and close your eyes and, ignore what is going on. But unfortunately, the juiciest stuff that gets the most engagement, the most clicks is the most terrifying and the most heartbreaking and the most outrageous. And, it drowns out a lot of really great stuff. And that's a shame. That's such a shame. Human beings can be such so gifted, such beautiful creatures, and this like the there are aspects of society that are so beautiful. There are some people who are doing amazingly good work, and it's so easy to just get drowned out by one loud jerk, or a whole band of loud jerks. But I would say you kind of buttoning or plus oneing on what Alex was just saying is you can kind of choose what you follow, right? And so maybe that's a good exercise, is going out and finding, like if you like trying to skew it a little bit, like add a couple of the more positive.
Sarah, I was going to say, I think I might go online and seek out some of the, the positive news out, there's plenty of them, on social media. And supplement some of this bad news with the good news, because I know I see something heartbreaking about the news and my mood is immediately destroyed. But, when I do see something positive and something good that's happening in the world, it really does kind of help keep you afloat. So I am going to look into some stuff, and if I find some great accounts, I will notify everyone.
We should put together a little resources thing. I mean, because that would be such a nice thing. It's like when you're feeling overwhelmed by all of that, it's like, all right, here are a few outlets that are, some really nice things to pay attention to.
Okay, I'm going to do that for sure.
Kathy said, I'm a natural researcher and I've been hit with some health issues, and I have to set a timer for how long I look it up before I spiral. Yeah, hey, I love timers. Journal Party is built off of timers because, I mean, it can be like a life hack, right? Just creating like some programming to keep you from your own programming. And unfortunately, a lot of us are programmed to spiral and just follow like the next most charming or outrageous piece of information and just follow it all the way down. But
Kathy, we wish you the best with everything. I remember I was in my doctor's office for my physical recently, and she had a mug that was saying, Google didn't go to med school, I did. So I know I go down spirals too anytime I have, some health issues arising. So, I hope you have great doctors and people that can, help put your mind at ease and really help you navigate this whole situation. Because sometimes going down those rabbit holes online, you're also being fed things that don't apply to you. So feel you 100%, but
and I mean, this is my own woo-woo belief stuff going on, but I totally think that being in a positive headspace helps with healing. That's just a belief of mine. I can't back that up with science, although there's probably science behind it.
100%. It's easier said than done though, but absolutely, if you can keep your mood elevated, it can definitely.
Well, she's on it. She's setting timers.
I know. That's incredible. Good for you.
She said thanks. We have Teresa said, I immerse myself in cat videos. There you go. Oh, my brother, I just saw something. I was scrolling on the feeds. Actually, it was his story. He's recently, his new obsession, I think this is maybe a little healthier than probably doom scrolling. There's some site or app where they have live feeds of these cameras where you can like pay and feed stray cats and raccoons and stuff, and you can just watch on the thing and they come up and when you hit the little button, and you see it dumps the food into the thing.
That's a mood booster for sure,
right? I mean,
that
it's like, all right, I mean, it's not, I guess that's not necessarily a free resource. I wonder if you can watch other people feeding them though. But I would want to do it. I kind of want to do that. I don't know. We'll check it out. I'll report back. Erica said, just tuning in, I've noticed more and more people are trying to simplify everything again. Dumb phones, timers, set technology times, less is more, physically and digitally. Yeah, well, hey, look, I can speak to that a little bit, right? Like I literally worked on a dumb phone as a project that I was consulting on, and it was too overcomplicated. It didn't work out. like it's you got to make it easy for people. And, we got to find a way though, because, letting these things just completely hijack our systems and drive the ship is clearly not working. Like, society is not better off. I don't think. That said, there are some cool things that we are better off for. So, there's a lot of good, and we got to be conscious and figure out what to do with the not so nice parts. Teresa said, I have not said any such things. LOL. I have a Teresa twin. Oh.
I'm sorry, Teresa. I don't think we like understand the reference back. We're not.
There's another Teresa.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay.
Kathy said Pinterest is a good place to find those videos. Interesting. I haven't done a whole lot of Pinterest. Well, we post some prompts on Pinterest, but yeah, I don't spend a lot of time on Pinterest. I'll have to check that out. All right, folks, it's 7:20 Pacific time. That means it's like 10:20 on the East Coast. So if you made it, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for hopefully this was a positive digital experience for you all. And yeah, I think this was enlightening for me. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I already know, but I think it was good to like give some of it some extra attention. And like, really, one of the cool things about journaling is like, you make a thought into something that's a little bit more tangible by getting that word on the page and seeing it in front of myself. I feel maybe a little bit more equipped to take some action that will benefit me. So hopefully you guys feel the same. You guys get something out of this practice. But appreciate you all hanging out and journaling with us.
Thank you guys, really appreciate it.
Just a quick announcement. So we've been doing a lot more YouTube content lately. So check out our channel. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to get notified when we release new programs and stuff like that. But it's looking like we're going to try to release at least one slightly shorter guided journaling program. So we won't have, the interactive part at the end, or, the whole setup in the beginning, but we'll just, journal for, for example, to spark creativity or to boost our confidence. And so the way that we're actually going to do that, we're going to experiment with this. YouTube has something called an instant premiere. So we can actually schedule it to release at the same time and notify everybody, and then it'll still have the chat, so you guys can all journal together and still share insights the way that we do here. Although they won't be the official Journal Party Live, but we're thinking about releasing those on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. So I guess it's 2 o'clock Eastern time. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you're interested in getting those programs and joining in on that action. It's going to be on Saturday again. So we'll release some more information as we figure out all the details for all of that. But really excited to release all that for you. As always, check out the podcast we got going on this week. And of course, we would love to hear your feedback. Let us know, what prompts are working for you, anything that you want to be journaling about. We have a lot of ideas in the backlog, but ultimately this is not our party. It's our party. It's not my party. It's our party. Right. So if there's stuff that you guys are wanting to work through, let us know, and we'll put it into the schedule and get a nice journaling program for us all. All right. Alex, any parting words?
Just take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. And it was a pleasure as always.